Today, we're going to save our team from a game of throws, and we're going to do it with the legendary tier Pan European destroyer or Polish destroyer, the Gdansk. Of course, we've got Swirsky at the helm of this vessel. We've got the Fox Flare skill selected, an overpowered skill, in my opinion. It increases the duration of the radar consumable to make it match the duration of the smokescreen consumable when the latter is longer, which it is. If we deploy the radar and then wait a couple seconds as it's running, then deploy the smokescreen, we get extra time on the radar. And the radar is already kind of overpowered on this thing in tandem with the smokescreen and the fact that both of those consumables are on a destroyer. Plus, on top of that, the Gdansk has great main battery firepower with great HE alpha and great pen on its main battery guns. And then it's got a good, healthy amount of pan-European destroyer torpedoes, which don't hit very hard but are extremely fast and do cause a few floods. We've got some torpedoes out toward the two battleships out there, and we're parking up to get into this cap. What we want to do is reverse slowly into the cap, especially since there are two battleships out there. What would happen if we made a different decision and instead drove headfirst into the cap? Well, this early in the match, we don't know where the two enemy DDs are. One of them is a Z-52, which has a smoke sonar combo. And if we were to push into this cap and get spotted in front of the Schlieffen and the Minnesota, bad things would happen. Don't believe me? Well, just watch this Z-46, who inexplicably did get spotted. I don't know how. I think he must have shot his main battery guns or something. Look at how much HP he's losing when he's, 8-10 kilometers away from those two battleships. Yeah, he's nearly all the way back to port after making that unfortunate error. Seriously, I don't know how he got spotted. He must have shot his guns before smoking up. He probably thought he had the leeway to do it and that there would be enough time to get concealed in the smoke screen before he'd face any return fire. But of course, the Schlieffen's AI secondary gunners really don't care about player input. Schlieffen is pushing in. He's going to go down, but I think he got close enough to spot the Z-46 with his sonar, and he must have got a fire on him with the secondaries or something, because that guy goes down, which is a little bit of a problem. It's certainly not ideal. It means we're the only destroyer left alive on this team versus still two enemy destroyers, one of which is the Z-52, and again, his smoke sonar combo is a little bit of a problem, at least potentially. Now, though, the Schlieffen is gone, so it's only the Minnesota out there. We can maybe push into this cap a little bit more aggressively, but we still want an avenue to escape if we can get it. Of course, we pick the exact same time to push into the cap as the Z-52. We spot him for the benefit of our cruiser teammate, the Brindisi, who absolutely smacks him back to oblivion. We're going to smack him back to port if we can here, but no, that honor goes to the Brindisi. We get the first of many fisting medals in this battle. We've deployed a smokescreen. I don't think we needed to. As soon as that Z-52 went down, we might have gotten dark there, but that's okay. We can use this smoke to farm some damage off of the battleships. And the torpedoes that we sent at the Z-52, well, by a happy coincidence, there just happens to be a Minnesota sailing in the direction that those torpedoes went. And those torpedoes have enough range and enough speed to hit the Minnesota with two of them and start a flood that may very well be permanent. It doesn't look like the Minnesota... Well, never mind. He did use DCP. We get spotted there momentarily, take some shots from some battleship off near the center, but that's okay. We're back in the safety of the smokescreen. We can farm a little bit. Minnesota, Yamato out there, other battleship, they're all sort of past their spawn point or near enough to it. Minnesota's kiting away, trying to escape his inevitable fate where he's going to be sent back to port within moments here. We've got a fire burning on him, and of course the improved penetration on the Gdansk's HE shells mean that we're able to get a lot of pen damage off the shells as well. Seems that we're shattering half of them and penning half, but we must probably be hitting his turrets or something there. Anyway, we're able to secure the alpha cap, which is good. That's going to stop the bleeding here. 5 minutes have elapsed in this match, and the enemy team has secured both Bravo and Charlie. Those are win conditions. If you get the majority of the caps, you're going to get points ticking in at a faster rate, which means you're going to overtake the enemy on points if all else remains equal in terms of ships floating. And all else is equal right now. The enemy team has lost a destroyer and a battleship. We've lost a destroyer and a cruiser, so maybe not 100% equal, but close enough to it in terms of raw numbers. Now, though, we've got the alpha cap. The enemy team has lost a battleship, so we've made up the points difference nearly, 345 to about 400. We'll get that changed here as we sail into the Bravo cap. Note that we are not going after the kiting battleships. That would be useless for us. That's something a lot of destroyers are inclined to do when they see situations like this. They want to chase after the battleship and get torpedo damage. Well, you can get torpedo damage and play the objectives at the same time. We hit the Alsace there with 4 torpedoes, up to 115,000 damage done now. And Alsace, Yamato, both of them are kiting away from that flank. They're no threat to the cap. Our work there is done. We haven't seen the other enemy destroyer at all, probably on the other side of the map. So we're going to hold up here in Bravo and take this cap before moving on to Charlie, most likely. Seems like the Minnesota is pushing out, and maybe we'll get some torpedoes on him as he goes. If this match looks familiar to you, by the way, it's because I played it on my most recent stream, which occurred on Sunday. We had Friday on a Sunday, and this is probably one of the more exciting games I've ever played on stream. Unfortunately, I didn't record it with my live commentary, which might have been preferable to this, but it's always good to look back at your games that you've played on stream and do a post-commentary analysis on them, because to a large degree, when I'm streaming and playing the game, I'm aware of what's going on at the moment, but I'm concentrating on the gameplay and also on the chat, and a lot of times after the match is finished, I don't remember it super well. I don't remember all the details, so going back to see them is sort of a nice change of pace. And this battle, honestly, at the end of it, it'll be worth it if you stick around till then. Double fire on the Minnesota with, I think, only 1 salvo from the guns there. Fire chance on the Gdansk, maybe that's a little bit overpowered. Anyway, we've got a cruiser in the Charlie cap. That is not the worst thing in the world, I suppose. It means the enemy has no income of points from the caps. They're frozen now at 525 unless they sink a friendly ship, but instead one of their numbers goes down. So now 465. I don't know if the cruiser is going to be able to succeed in taking Charlie. Obviously, cruisers are more visible than destroyers, so if he does get spot, he'll be easy to reset. But, I don't know, he seems to be doing fine taking the cap. He's clearly not spotted. If he were, he'd definitely be getting reset. Maybe he's the kind of cruiser with a smoke screen. I'm not sure, but there is a very angry-looking smoke screen right around this corner. It's occupied by the Sejong, who is definitely not the one who's locating us. I don't believe any of the Pan-Asian cruiser commanders have the RPF skill. That must mean we're getting located by the final enemy destroyer. Of course, he loses his location on us, and I'm not sure what that suggests about his position. Maybe that he's closer to the friendly battleship over there than he is to us, but I believe that friendly battleship has just eaten a faceful of Sejong torpedoes, and I don't think he is going to be floating for too much longer. No, he's already gone down in the time that I've been talking. So all of a sudden, even though we were even on ships, it's now a 5v4 in favor of the enemy team. And they've still got 1 destroyer left, which means they still have the ability to win this match, particularly since the destroyer is a Katsanis, sort of the Tier 8 version of the Gdansk, except it's on a World War I hull that is somewhat obsolete. It's not my favorite setup for a destroyer, but it is powerful and has to be respected. We catch him with the radar, even make a little bit of use of the Swirsky radar gimmick. He, of course, pays us back in kind with his own radar, but we're quite close to this island that the cruiser was using in order to secure the cap, and we're able to sail out of the radar range, but not before the Yoshino gets a pretty big blow on us there. Looks like he also avoided our torpedoes, which is unfortunate. So we're going to have to retreat here. Take a look at the map, though. We've got the 2 battleships that we left at the Alpha Cap squaring off against one enemy battleship over there. The other one that's still floating is on this side of the map. So 2v1, they ought to win that and then swing back around and head toward this side of the map where all the rest of the enemy ships are. Xarkun gets itself spotted, shooting at our cruiser, who I think is the only surface ship, unfortunately, that this Yoshino, Alsace, and Sejong are going to be able to see. That means he's going to get focused to oblivion. And there he goes. It was HMS Defense. He sinks. That leaves this side of the map clear, except for me. And that means Yoshino, Xarkun, Sejong, and Alsace, all they've got to worry about is pushing into one single destroyer. I might have torpedoes, but I don't have infinite torpedoes. They certainly can push in, and they can get me to kite away, which is what I'm going to do. We're at about half HP here. If we get spotted by that Xarkun again, we're going to be the only thing within kilometers of the Yoshino, Sejong. Well, actually, Sejong is heading toward our friendly battleships in the enemy spawn area, but Yoshino is coming our way, and his HE is not something we want to get hit by. We'll send some torpedoes his way. Our reload is sort of out of sync. Maybe one of our torpedo launchers got destroyed, but Yoshino is inside of the cap. It's not the end of the world if he does flip it, but we do want to prevent the enemy from getting the rest of the caps. And it would probably be a good idea for me to sail back toward my battleship teammates. Yoshino must have sonar or something because he avoids that salvo of torpedoes as well. And maybe it's kind of a happy occurrence that the torpedo reload is out of sync because we've got another rack ready to go here. And Yoshino, he's doing the zigzagging thing. Good tactic. That's something I think I've advised people do when I've made some videos where torpedo dodging is a feature. If you zigzag every couple of seconds, it really makes it hard for enemy DDs to hit you. But it does help too when you've got the sonar running. And I think at this point, Yoshino's sonar may be out, and he probably zigged when he should have zagged, because those torpedoes, if I remember correctly, yeah, they're going to hit him, get us 165,000 damage, start a permaflood, and net us the high caliber and Confederate medals at the same time. Hopefully that'll be enough to take care of Yoshino. We've got him spotted, but I don't think the battleships have salvos or shots on him. Maybe they do. Not 100% sure. In any case, he hasn't flipped the Charlie cap yet. But the Xarkun has flipped the Bravo cap, which is going to be a problem, because unless somebody shoots this Yoshino right now, which it doesn't look like is going to happen, then he's probably going to take that Charlie cap. He's still flooding, but that flood is not going to be lasting much longer. In fact, it stops there. So if we're going to take out the Yoshino, it would have to be with guns, or it would have to be by one of our teammates. And it doesn't look like they are either able or willing to shoot at him, so we're going to have to abandon that for the moment. One of our battleships goes down. Not a big surprise. Both of them are in the same area of the map, which prevents them from creating a crossfire and makes it so the enemy can focus and angle against only one part of the map while simultaneously farming them down. And so one of them does go back to port. The other one has half health at best, and he's pushing into a Sejong, which is a recipe for his demise. I think he's going to end up going down too. So the best thing we could do here is get into the Bravo cap, try to stop their accrual of points. That's when Xarkun shoots at the last battleship, allows us to spot him. He smokes up, though. We have radar, don't forget. But before we deploy that, we've got Alsace coming in. I almost didn't launch these torpedoes because I didn't think they were going to have any chance of hitting that battleship. About 30 seconds left to go in the match. We deploy the radar against the Xarkun. We don't have the overpowered Swirsky gimmick to make it last longer, so we're going to have to take out Xarkun now. We almost do. He's on no HP. One last salvo ought to do it. by virtue of our position, nothing on the enemy team can shoot back at us. We're ahead of the enemy team on points, and those torpedoes, well, they do come in clutch here right in the final moments of the game. They make contact with the Yoshino, not even the Alsace, but the Yoshino, and take him down, which gives us a solo warrior, because at the time the Katsanis sunk, our battleship teammate had already sunk. So we were alone versus 4, and we finished the battle with nearly 200,000 damage done, 4,000 XP, and a solo warrior to boot. The Gdansk is a powerful ship. Let's just put it that way. It's available in the Bureau. If you haven't started the Bureau project yet, I recommend it. This might be one of the best destroyers at Legendary tier. Hope you enjoyed the video. If so, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.